go. Let's do it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Turntables activated. Get ready.
The most versatile hip-hop radio station in the world.
You can talk about us, but you can't talk without us. Phenomenal radio. We are what radio should be. You could listen to one of those other stations, but what would your friends think?
Holy sh! Where'd you find this?
You're locked into the #1 online radio station.
Here we go!
It's not that your radio sounds strange. You just found a station that plays what you like.
Phenomenal radio.
Radio just got a lot more fun. Thanks for listening.
Phenomenal Radio, PHENOMradio.com, the most versatile hip-hop station in the world, where we take the power of the industry and place it in the hands of the independents. I am one of your hosts, your brother at Slatestone Music, anywhere online, on any of your social media platforms or any online search engine. Put hashtag 1000 network and you will find some of our artifacts. And again, I am your brother at Slatestone Music. We got a phenomenal guest in here, a whole network representative. Going to be introduced to you shortly, but I'm going to throw it over to Dick James. He's going to throw it over to Miss Libra. She's going to throw it to DJ Despair, and then James is going to introduce our guest on today. What up, Dick James?
What's going on, family? How everybody doing?
Doing well.
Great to have everybody here. I'm Timo James, co-partner of the KPTX Digital Broadcasters, the most diverse radio station on the planet. I'm also CEO and founder of the Industry Plug magazine. And today we have a very exciting guest, very solid young man from New York by way of Atlanta, Georgia, CEO and founder of the Radio Connect. CEO and founder of the Radio Connect Awards, which is hosted November 7th through the 9th, Veterans Memorial Weekend in Las Vegas. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead on and introduce Jazzy Libra. What's going on with you, Big
me?
Jazz?
Go on to introduce me, because look, I do it all. So I am the Jazzy Libra, Jazzy Vibes, Jazzy After Dark. That's all platforms. I do it all. I am Atlanta president for the hip hop fraternity. Okay, I'm a podcaster, media. I'm an actress. I'm retired Army. I'm a content creator. I do it all. I got an EIN. How about that?
That part.
Does that sum that up? Like, that's what it is. Cause I got a resume, and we doing this every show. I'm gonna start doing my resume like this.
Right.
And that's who I am, Jazzy Libra, the Jazzy Libra. ATL Eastside Finest, baby.
DJ Despair.
DJ Despair from Canada, between Winnipeg and Toronto, CEO Street Killers Entertainment, with different branches from marketing, advertising, promotion, shows, events, festivals, traveling, book, and on radio and all different types of networks. TV networks, on Hip Hop Television Network, and on Phenom Radio every Saturday, twice a day, the radio and the podcast. Salute.
Dick James.
Yeah, most definitely. It's looking like a great DJ for Ray to add to the Radio Connect radio station apps, because that's your great state, country of Canada. And he's the king, he's the champion of Canada, not just by way of DJing, but by way of business. So that's why on a consistent basis on this particular audio forensics panel, he is the only DJ who is on here, because, he has the keys to our northern Americans up there. And so, yeah, without further ado, we want to go ahead and introduce to us our special guest today, the one and only, the infamous Ray Daniels. What's good with you, Ray?
What up? Thank you. I'm glad to be here, man, amongst such greatness. How y'all doing?
We doing
Doing
lovely.
well,
It's
doing
great to
well.
have you.
Everything's great.
Yes,
And as
sir.
far as Canada goes, we do have a station that I own that represents Canada called T Dot. So if you download the Radio Connect app,
I know
we
what
are
it is.
broadcast. We are broadcasting in Canada under the title T Dot Radio. So you
That's
need to be
Oh,
a
dope.
we've
part of that
crossed
T
paths
Dot.
before, but we'll talk in a bit.
Okay.
Indeed. So, Ray, let us know how you became so great. Radio networks, thousands of stations, your journey in radio, how it began for you.
Well, it all starts with God first. Let's give God all the glory and all the praises. So I start with talking with God every day, meditating first, and then it's all about envisioning your future. You got to envision it. Um, you wake up, you envision your journey, you envision your dreams, you envision what you want to do, you aspire, you inspire, and you just leap out on faith. That's basically what it is. I've always had a love for music. My dad was a musician. God bless his soul. He rested in heaven. My dad, he was a drummer, so I've always been around music. My whole family sings. My first cousins are the Foursome D's. They had big hits like Tender Love, Love is a House, amongst others. So I've already been surrounded by music. I was actually a recording artist initially. So I was a recording artist before I got into radio. And as a recording artist, I got introduced to radio through college because the record deal that I obtained at the time was able to give me a scholarship to the University of South Carolina, where I went to the program director actually to get my single played, and he thought I was just so engaging and humorous that I should be on the radio as opposed to being on the radio with a record. He thought, he said, well, we can't play your record, but we do have a R&B and hip hop slot available here at the station. If you're interested, you can be on the radio here. And at first I was like, can I curse on here? At first I was like, Buck Dad, gave him the middle finger, I'm the next Bobby Brown. I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to be no radio personality. I'm a star. So I gave him that. I gave him that business, and then after, I got caught up in the rain, uh, and and I thought about it. I was like, well, if I'm on the radio, I can play my song. So I doubled back, I spin the block, and I was like, yo, I'll take it. And at first, just being on the radio, I was just goofing off. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing no different today, almost 30 years later. But I was just, I'm a playful guy. I like having fun, so I was just having fun with it. I know a lot of people when they start in radio, they aspire to be a radio personality, but I never aspired to be a radio personality. I just had a love for music, and that transition into getting a record deal with the help of my cousins, the Foursome D's. Their father was their manager, and it so happened that he had a tip that New Edition was leaving an independent label, and they was looking to replace New Edition really fast. So he called the owner of that label, which was called Streetwise, and the owner of that label, I still know him to this day. His name is Arthur Baker. You guys need to research him. He's really very big. He was like also did the soundtrack for Beat Street, a big hip hop movie. But me and Arthur Baker is still friends to this day. I was only like but 15 years old then. So they was looking to really replace New Edition. So my uncle had a tip. He brought us down to the record company. We had no demo tape. We did nothing like people do. We didn't have no studio time, nothing. We just went down to the record company, sang for the man. I was actually writing songs at that age, and I had a song that I wrote that my uncle thought was phenomenal, and I just sung the song for them a cappella, and he was like, "We want these boys." Um, Initially it was to replace New Edition and take their name, but New Edition earned the right to their name when they went to MCA Records. They was trying to sue for the New Edition name, so it was like almost like a Menudo situation. We was just going to step in their place, at like we was the new Edition, like you know what I'm saying. But New Edition won the lawsuit to keep their name, So we wound up being something called something else, and we never actually came out under that label. Spent a lot of years there, but being sheltered. But I met a lot of people in the music industry, and then from that record deal, like I said, we landed another record deal where our lawyer really fought for us to get education, and that landed me at the University of South Carolina. And I just told that story. We had a what they called a 12-inch vinyl record at the time, and I was just walking around the campus with that 12-inch record. And somebody told me, "Yo, USC has a radio station." So I went over there, to being the hustler that I am, tried to get them to play my record on the spot, a 12-inch, not an MP3, not a CD, but a 12-inch vinyl. And of course, they refused it, but they thought, like I said, they thought I was so engaging and so funny that they wanted me to be on the air for 2 hours, because they had the university didn't really have any representation for melanated people at the time. I was black. I knew black music. I knew the history of music. So on top of me being funny, they didn't have any black representation at the University of South Carolina at the time. And if anybody knows, when you play music for college radio station, you can't play one genre. It's like 2 hours of punk radio, 2 hours of rock and roll, 2 hours of country, and I was going to be that 2 hours of urban music. I was young. I was from New York. They was like the slang. They was really just intrigued by all that. Um, so again, I was just having fun with it, and I wasn't really trying to be no radio personality. It was just a hustle to play my song. So I didn't really know I was even good at radio because my DJ was from Jamaica, and he had a big, strong Jamaican accent, and we was just having fun, man. And then one time on the campus, this was my turning point for me to be like, damn, you might be really good at this shit. You know what I'm saying? Because it was, I'm quite the ladies' man. I love girls. I'm still single, by the way. It was a bunch of girls talking about this new guy on the radio and how dope he was and how funny he could do voice impressions. And my show was actually hotter than the mainstream radio station in that market, which is the Big DM 101 FM, which I wind up interning there after that. But the show was so damn hot, the girls was going so crazy, right? At the time, we didn't have this type of technology where you could see people, so they was only going by my voice. You know what I'm saying? All they had was my voice to go on. It was like real radio. So they was talking about this guy that was doing this morning show. He was so funny. So I walked up to them. I said, "Hey, that's me." They said, "Get the fuck out of here. That wasn't you." So I wound up having to do my show on the street corner, like all over again. Because, I was trying to get a girlfriend. So I did the whole show on the block. And it was like, "Yo, that is him." So, because we didn't have visuals. We didn't have visuals then. So, and I remember my first show, it was so the phones was just ringing off the hook because my first show, believe it or not, I had a challenge, like who was the ugliest R&B female singers. And then at the time, Destiny's Child was the original Destiny's Child was out, and Beyonce had them tight ass extensions in her hair. And then we had Escape, so we had Destiny's Child versus Escape, and I kept playing back the line from Biggie Smalls. Escape the ugly fucking escape bitches, right? So everybody just thought that was crazy. So that right there just made my name go crazy on campus because they was like, "Ooh, this guy had the nerve to like the ugliest R&B female singers," and the phone was just going crazy. But then like one of my best friends in college, what really took me over the top. Because again, like I told you, I was just fooling around, just jonesing every day. But I had a white friend in college. I called him White Mike. Um, he 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 thought so highly of me. He thought like I was like a radio god for some reason, right? And I was just going with it because he had my head big. But one time a bunch of us all from New York in South Carolina, New York, New Jersey, Philly, like all up top cats. in the van, and White Mike was like, you know, Ray's the best. He's the best ever, right? And that and they was like, get, you know, everybody from New York. They know ain't nobody gonna let nobody big one nigga up over nobody in the Astro van. You know what I'm saying? So he said, I bet y'all all $100 he could get people to line up in front of that abandoned building right there. So it was a burned down building by the college. Uh, that he said, you know, he bet everybody in the car. I was ready to take that bet that I wasn't going to do it. You know what I'm saying? He bet everybody in the car $100. So it's him versus five niggas. So he would have to pay out $500. They all had to give him 100. He told everybody that I would have everybody, that I was so dope that I could have everybody lined up outside that abandoned building. All right, so you know I took the bet. I clearly forgot about the bet because every day I was like, yo, it's going down to the major way, 2-for-1 drinks, ladies free before 12. It's called the Inferno. It's going to look like it's abandoned, but don't worry about that. We're going to be killing it. Right, so I kept doing that for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then the day up, I actually forgot about it. You know what I'm saying? And then the next thing you know, it was like banging on the door of the radio station at the college. Bing, boom, banging, boom, 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 boom. Now we talking about the open face cell phones at the time, where, you know, when they first came out, the voice streams and the Sprint like uh, phones where you had when you had the text, you had to dial to get a text message. You had to press 1 3 times and 2 3 times to spell a word. So
What year was this?
oh man,
It's
I went to college from '94 to '97, so this was
I
like
was gonna say I
'95.
was 96, 97. Look,
Right,
I was
right. So
there,
I'm telling
Ray.
you, yeah,
I
man. You
okay.
was
know, I was
there.
I was
right.
still in
I
So
high
lived
school. Okay,
right
I just
up the
wanted to make sure.
street
I was just wanted to know when that was. But
from the
go
right, right.
ahead.
It was yeah,
University of
it
South
was '95.
Carolina. And
That's
look, let
me
me
all
drop this
day.
jewel on you right quick. You were the first of a few to come after you came in there and you did what you did. So actually, you were the first urban director because my
Right,
partner DJ Shakis got that opportunity after you
right.
moved on.
Who's talking right now?
This Dick James, this Timo.
Oh, right, 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 right,
Because
right. That's a
I'm
fact.
stationed in Columbia, so Fort
Okay,
Jackson,
that's a fact. That
We
is
do
a
our
yeah,
fact.
homework. We do
and
our homework.
Okay,
also DJ Eclipse. You remember your white boy DJ Eclipse, right?
right, right, right. And Shot
From
Kim who was Bow Wow's DJ.
exactly,
Right.
that's
So like
right.
we was all out there at the time. So what had happened was I actually did get the people to line up around that abandoned, burned down building. The cops was banging on the door. I was scared to death. I didn't know it was the cops. I didn't know who was outside the studio. Then White Mike finally called me and said, "Yo, the cops trying to get in." I said, what the fuck is going on, nigga? You did it, nigga. They all around the block trying to get into the building, right? I said, oh shit. So the cops came in the studio and like, yo, make an announcement right now on the radio. Tell everybody to go home. There's no club. So they was out there with the big bullhorn joints, like, go home. There's no party here. But they was like, yo, Ray said it was a party here. We ain't going nowhere. To Ray say, you know what I'm saying? So I had to get on the radio, make that announcement, and that's when I was like, wow.
They actually
And
created a
that's
party
right,
hall in
right.
the dance theme in the clubs, and it started booming from that year on
Damn,
forward, man.
you really know. Okay, you know what you're talking about. So what,
Yeah, man, I lived there
so what
23
happened
years,
was
bro.
after that, this is when I knew getting money for being a radio personality was real. Because right after that, I was on WOLO, ABC, the news. I was all over the news. Radio personality, Ray Daniels, gets people to line up in front of the band. So all the clubs called me after that. That's when the Hawaiian suits was in style and shit, like 2-piece short sets. So I
Yeah,
started making, I was on everybody's flyer at that point. And I did like 4 clubs a week, making like $1,500 a club. So I was
yeah,
like,
down
yeah,
in
I can't
Five
believe I'm making this
Points.
much. That part. Yeah, this guy knows he's okay. Round of applause.
I
Round of
Yeah,
told you we do
applause.
our homework.
Right, right. So
Well,
at
I
that
actually
point, I
lived
was
the
making
experience, so
right, right. So I was
yeah,
actually making $6 grand a week as a sophomore in college. By my junior year, I was doing places like the Fountain Blue, the Flamingo, and
yeah.
all that other stuff.
The
And then
Purple
that's when I
Rain.
took it. Purple Rain, right? Oh, this guy really knows, right? And Club Mercedes as well. So like that's Tony Mercedes for anybody know what's going on. That was actually right across the street from the campus. So
Right.
that's when I had my DJ teach me to DJ at that point because I was just a voice, and I talked a lot of shit in the clubs. And then I actually interned with Curtis Wilson at the Big
Yeah, Big
DM
BM,
and
baby.
Prince Ice and
Yep.
the DJ Venom. At the time, I mean, Charlemagne is actually from South Carolina too. So me and Charlemagne was running together. That we actually interned under Wendy Williams.
Yep.
But I was making so much money doing these parties. I didn't actually pursue radio like right after college. I became a nightclub. I went back home and started promoting nightclubs with a dude named John Gungi Rivera. So I was working with Flex and them at the time, working the tunnel, and just getting money, just being what they call a sub promoter. I wasn't the head promoter. I was like one of 30 niggas that's getting you in the club. And we used the free birthday party gimmick to get everybody in. Yeah, we're gonna give you a free birthday party. So that shit, we had lines around the block. And then from there, I created a magazine. This is where I'm bringing you up to speed. I'm fast forwarding real fast. I created a magazine called Drama Magazine in New York, and the way I got my interviews, I used radio. So it was Miss Jones Morning Show, where Envy actually started, and so I knew Envy from over there. Then you had Ed Lover, who was on Power. Then you had Angie Martinez. So I used radio to market my magazine. Um, and every time I went on the show, they was like, "Damn, did you do radio before? You need to be doing radio," because our radio was out of my system at that time. Because I was just being a New York Brooklyn hustler. I had the magazine. The magazine was getting me in places that if you was famous, you could get in. I was like, this is just like having a record deal. I could go to all the parties. I'm hanging out
Hmm.
with Jimmy Hinchman, Wendy Williams. I'm hanging out with all the celebrities. I'm backstage with Arsenio Hall and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just doing a magazine. And that got me an invitation to Sirius XM, where I was actually on the Rude Jude show with Lord Sear. Lord Sear,
Yep.
Rude Jude. The Rude Jude, you might know. Yeah, that show is still on right now. That was on Shady 4 5.
Yeah.
So the name of my magazine was called Drama. So they brought every time my magazine dropped, they brought me up there to tell all the storylines in my magazine because it was about drama at the time. 50 Cent was really going through with it with his own G Unit team, then eventually Game. So I was like the National Enquirer of hip hop. This magazine I had, and that's why Wendy Williams loved me so much because Wendy Williams used to use my magazine for a lot of her stories, and I actually at that time it got me an invite to Czar Entertainment. Now Czar Entertainment, they was the managers of Game, so this like everything is full circle, and it go back to radio. So I got invited there. Jimmy Hinchman was the CEO of Czar, and all this media was up there. He kicked everybody out. He said, "Yeah, I want that nigga right there." That's the nigga I want to tell my stories. So they kicked everybody out. I was like, whoa. So I'm really scared of this nigga. This is Jimmy Hinchman. If anybody does history, Jimmy Hinchman right now is serving time for
Right.
allegedly having to do something with Tupac's death. Uh, but he was managing Game at the time. That at that time, uh, Game. Uh, let me tell you how this whole R. Kelly shit. You're gonna get an exclusive right now, Timo. This whole R. Kelly shit jumped off because R. Kelly refused to do a feature with Game. That's how all this shit jumped off. Um, so if anybody remember, R. Kelly, he actually got acquitted on the first time. He was actually found, they let him go the first time because when he was so supposedly peeing on the kids and all that, allegedly, he was found out guilty the first time. It wasn't till the second time where a lot of women felt slighted that he got away with the sex trafficking and having sex with minors and all that, that they went after him again. The second time is the time he went to jail. But the first time, um, when the tape got released of him allegedly urinating on a young girl, I was given the story. So I actually sold 300,000 DVDs in a week from that story because what had happened was I don't want to tell too much. I got to put this in my book. What had happened was it was leaked out to me that R. Kelly used to videotape himself, but he used to keep the tapes to watch them later on to pleasure himself. So somebody that was connected with the situation with Game knew that and actually got some of the tapes that were made, and we leaked it, purposely leaked it to the bootleggers, the Africans in New York, purposely did that just to ruin R. Kelly's career. You know what I'm saying? And it worked. But he got off that time. But that actually took me to a whole nother level as well because the R. Kelly. I made a DVD called Kelly versus Kelly. So I guess you could continue to do your research. I made a DVD called Kelly versus Kelly, where because R. Kelly was claiming that his brother Kerry Kelly was the person that was on the tape, not himself. And then what had happened was when I made the cover of the magazine as R. Kelly, Guilty or Not Guilty on the magazine, this I went back full circle to radio. The publicist for Kerry Kelly, because Kerry Kelly actually wanted to be an artist, uh, invited me to do an interview with Kerry Kelly. And Kerry Kelly was actually throwing R. Kelly under the bus. Uh, it, that DVD is still available, but if you want to go get that. So at the end of the day, that DVD got me invites to VH1, MTV, and again, you should be doing radio was the thing. And then I started an internet radio station based on the magazine. The magazine was called Drama Magazine, which I'm going to be bringing back Radio Connect Magazine real shortly. Uh, it was called Drama Magazine, so I created an internet radio station called Drama Radio. So that because at the time the magazine, if a story happened, you have to wait 3 months, and everybody already knew about it already. When like Chris Brown and Rihanna got into it, by the time I put that in the magazine, the story was old. You know what I'm saying? So everybody said, "This is old. This been happened." So I got tired of hearing that. So I said, "You know what? Let me start an internet radio station." So when I started the internet radio station, a lot of FM stations was tapping in, and it was like, "Yo, you need to come over here get a paycheck." But I like making my own money and making my own decisions and waking up when I want to wake up. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't really having it because I was getting a lot of money at the time between the magazine, the DVD, the radio, the showcases, going state to state, doing shows. I was like, and I was still really relatively young at the time. I'm like, you know, early 30s, like at this point, like real, like, and you can't really tell a nigga like, 29, 30, 31 when they're getting money, anything when he's getting money on his own time. I haven't punched the clock since 1994. Like I haven't worked for anybody since 1994. So I was like, I wouldn't even know what to do at a job. My last job was I was like a kid working at 7-Eleven. So, so when I get hired by these radio stations, I don't consider that a job because when they hire me, they hire Radio Connect, and I'm like a personality from they hiring me, the company, and I program my own music. My topics are my own topics. That's the only way I would do it. So when I did drama radio, then I came to Atlanta. So now this is how the whole Atlanta story starts. Cause like I get bored fast. So like and I keep challenging myself. And I'll be at the height of my career. Uh, it was until like recently I realized that I was sabotaging myself. I could have probably been a billionaire by now. So a lot of people are afraid A lot of people will challenge themselves. They want to be famous. They want to be successful. But as soon as you get to that pinnacle, the hustle, because I'm a hustler. I was a hustler this whole time, just hustling. When you get to that pinnacle of that hustle and everybody starts talking about, hey, maybe you need to invest your money. We get an EIN and you be like, what? No, ain't nobody like you don't really want to be accountable for your finances. You don't really want to do all that because like that's another thing when you young getting money. It wasn't until recently I realized, damn boy, you sabotaging you could have been like better than all these niggas. Like, and that's when I start calling myself the Kang, just to irritate motherfuckers. Really, like just to get them like, who the fuck are you to? How arrogant of yourself to call you the king. And even with people I'm on the radio with, they be like, why would you do that? Like, you need to humble yourself. And at the end of the day, I was like, humble myself for what? Like, at the end of the day, you shouldn't be afraid of greatness. But I was at one point. I used to always dumb myself down to make people feel comfortable in my scenery. Like, I don't want people to feel uncomfortable because you want to be liked and you want to be loved to the point so much that you don't want to offend anybody. So that's a real thin line right there. Like, you got to be able to still be a people person, and they got to be able to accept. I don't want to. They got to be able to accept your confidence, not your arrogance, but your confidence. And I'm confident in what I'm doing. So with the internet situation, when I moved to Atlanta, I already knew that I was going to go FM. I actually told the people when I created Radio Connect, I said I'm probably going to be doing this for about 3 months before FM gives me a call because I know how radio goes. I know how it's formatted. I know how to engage with people. I know how to get people, how to provoke phone calls, how to get people excited. So I told my co-host, I get this 3 months before we're on FM. So when I first came to Atlanta, and lo and behold, it was a rapper. I can't remember his name right now. He was from Columbus, Georgia. He came and said, "Yo, I want you to do my party." And he heard me. All this because he was listening to A105. That's all I had was one station in Atlanta, one. He heard A105 in Atlanta, and he thought I was hotter than everybody in Columbus, Georgia. And he wanted, since he was independent, he wanted the independent radio station to bring him out. And I thought that whole shit was dope. I said, "Yo, I'll do it," right? Timo, this is gonna blow your whole head off right here. What I'm about to tell you, right? So I had my co-host, and I said, "Hey, let's make sure we get a banner." At this time, nobody had banners and shit. Like, they thought this nigga's full of shit. He got his face on shit, banner. So we went to Columbus with all this shit. We had vinyl banners and shit. Nobody was doing this shit. It's so done so much now. I don't even do it no more, right? But at the time, it was like new to me, and I went there with, I don't want to say arrogance, but just a takeover
Confidence.
spirit I had. Right. So I had a takeover spirit. I said, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to destroy these motherfuckers because, like, because this is a guy who was a resident of Columbus. And he thought so highly of enough to drive all the way to Atlanta to get me to come down there and do his birthday party and his release. It was his birthday and his release party for his single at the same time. So I'm going there hungry, Timo. Like, okay, because like when you first starting, and then when you get a little complacent when you get comfortable. But when you first starting, there's a different type of hunger in your system. So like these motherfuckers gonna know who I am because I never been to Columbus, Georgia before. So I came equipped. It was just me and my co-host. And when I got there, everybody fucking knew me. I was like, what the fuck? So I was preparing for something to take over, but everybody, they go Ray Daniels. And I was like, what the fuck? They had the cameras on me and shit. And this before I knew what analytics was, right? Because somebody who was way more intelligent than me said, nigga, you don't know what your numbers is out here? You need to check your analytics. I didn't know what the fuck they was talking about, right? So I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? So they rushed us to the VIP. They said, what you want us to put your banner up? All this type of shit. They're doing videos. And I'm just taken back by all this. I'm like, oh shit, they know us. So like the owner of Foxy 105 was there, Davis Broadcasting, and then Michael Soul was there, who was the program director, and Double O Key, who was like one of the main DJs out there. They said, you want to say a few words? I was like, hell yeah. So this is, now keep in mind what I prophesied. I said, in 3 months, we're going to be on FM radio. It was exactly 3 months, Timo. So I went on, I got on the mic, and I had a nervous, excited energy. Like my heart's going fast. I said, I knew what I wanted to say. So I said, I'm going to say this shit. I'm going to say this. So I got on the mic. I said, what's up, Columbus? The fucking feedback was so retarded, it scared me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, so I said what came to immediately. So I said, do you want to see Ray Daniels on Foxy 105? They was like, the fucking roof almost came off the building, Timo. So the older, the program director, they pulled me to the side, hey, we got to talk to you on Monday, man. Like, we got to talk to you. And when we got there, they had a whole big interview set up for me and everything. But I guess what I did, Timo, when I got back to Atlanta. That word analytics stuck in my fucking head. So I googled analytics. Then I went to the back of my internet radio station setup, and they was telling me where I was hot. This is where you're hot at, and this is how you can monitor this. I was like, oh shit, I can see when people are listening to me, right? So, and Columbus was through the roof, right? So we had the meeting was already scheduled. Like, keep in mind, this happened like on a Wednesday or Thursday. They already scheduled to meet with us on Tuesday the following week. So I'm on the radio Friday talking about Columbus on A105, the internet station, right? And just because that dude put that thought in my head, analytics, I had the little analytics window set up, right? And then I saw the light come on for Columbus. I said, oh, I bet you these the motherfuckers, I bet you this is Foxy 105 listening to us. So I told my co-host, right? It damn sure was them. So I had the cheat sheet, Timo, because boom, the light came on. It was Columbus was on. I said, okay, now we got to go extra radio. Let's get extra commercial on this shit, right? So that's exactly so I did what they call the positioning statement. You know, thank you for listening to A105. It's your boy Ray Daniels. Ray Daniels in the morning, what we bring you. So I did all the radio shit that I knew the radio FM wanted to hear. So I did it like a FM show. Man, as soon as the show was over, I got a call. Said, "Don't forget, we wanted." They bumped it from Tuesday to Monday.
Hey,
so I had the cheap seat. So I went down there, did the interview with Foxy 105. I wound up being with them for 6 years straight. We started on. They gave us like a little weekend show. Then after that, I wound up engineering the Breakfast Club. After that, I engineered the Breakfast Club. D.L. Hughley, Tom Joyner. So I got my FM chops right there. And then, again, my head was in my ass because I was like, damn, I wanted more. So I was like, man, I should be doing prime time. This is what I'm thinking. So I quit. This is the sabotage part I'm talking about. I resigned, like the whole Columbus loved me. I resigned right at the peak of my situation in Columbus, and then that's when I focused on Radio Connect, and then I interviewed Deborah Anthony, Waka Flocka's mom, and from that interview, she had no idea the power of radio. We actually became partners at that point. So me and Deborah Anthony became partners, and that had a terrible ending. But we're friends now. We love each other to death now. But it didn't end up good. So from there, that's when I got my own building. Because at the time, the only way Deb would do the deal was I had to go to Mazet. I had to go to her building in Jonesboro, and you definitely get another exclusive. All right, I had to go to Jonesboro, and Walker had to be a part of the deal. Uh, and Waka at the time was signed with Diddy. Waka was with Diddy, Rick Ross. That's where Diddy had the Bad Boy Entertainment, not the label, but the management. So Nicki was over there, Minaj, and Waka was over there, Rick Ross was over there. Yeah, so it was a good situation for Waka because Waka was going to get it sponsored. The goal was to take A105 to get an FM antenna, right? He was going back and forth with my lawyer at the time. He's now passed. His name is Kendall Minter. Uh, so him and Deb was going back and forth with the legal paperwork. What I did was, and I would never probably do again in life because it was a lesson well learned. I confided in somebody about uh, what I thought about the situation. They went back and told Deb what it was, and she got a misinterpretation of it. And then that turned into a big uh, disagreement between me and Deb. That got real ugly, and then Deb wound up doing her own radio station called BE 100. Uh, by the time she launched that station, she made a call back to me. It was like, Ray, you know, shit got fucked up, and I would love for you to really be at, uh, her launching of her BE 100 and say a few words because you actually the one who got me even thinking about doing a radio station. Um, so I did, and that wound up in a standing ovation. I was on the stage with Reggie Rouse from V103 and a bunch of other cats where um, and I got a lot of offers from a lot of FM radio stations, but uh, it's nothing like being able to make your own decisions and be able to call your own shots. So I rebuilt A105 without Deb. Deb had E100. So now it's the internet radio craze is like the thing now. When I first did it, people didn't even know what it was. After I was done with it, everybody had one. Half the people that have one in Atlanta probably worked for me or interned for me. So, uh, good. This is a little negative energy I'm gonna throw into the conversation. It's like and I give Timo props for this because he's never been one guilty of what I'm about to say. A lot of people will get in your circle because they watch you from the outside just to see, wow, like man, I can do that too, and then they're getting a circle, and I'm very generous with the information. I'm not a hater, so if you ask the right question, I will give you the right answer. And if you need help or guidance, I'm that dude that will help or guide you. And Timo, if he knows anything about me, you should know that. All right, so a lot of these people who have internet stations now was either students, interns, worked with me, came through with me, and it got so saturated with that I had the desire to go back to FM radio, uh, even after I quit or resigned from Foxy 105. I went and started like four radio stations at one time. I started a rock station, I started a hip hop station, I started a traditional R&B station, all at once. And then I got introduced to a lady named Sheila Brown because I did my research. Like, damn, how can I convert these internet stations to FM stations? Then I started doing my research and knew there was something called the FM translator where you can get a signal from an AM station. So I was thinking, damn, maybe you could do the same thing with an internet station. So I started technically stalking the lady. And she was not taking my calls until I said, hey, I need somebody to teach me, and I'd be willing to pay them. Then she took my call. Then she took my call. At the time, I was actually getting my cousin's shows and stuff, and breaking their records. Because I'm also a radio rep. I'm the guy who gets get artist records on the radio. Uh, so it's not considered payola. I'm the middle guy. I'm the guy who listens to the song. You pay me. I call the PDs. They take my word that the record is good because I'm co-signing it for the artist, and I distribute money around the United States to get artists to get played on the radio. So with that reputation, a lot of people already knew that I was like, if you give me a record, I can get it. I can get it on the charts. So I was making a lot of money doing that. So I really had no desire to be on FM radio anymore until I met Sheila Brown. I didn't want to be on FM. I wanted to own FM stations at this point because I wanted to control the narrative, what people are hearing, what they're listening, and eventually it happened with Radio Connect. But at the time, I had something called Clear FM. So when I met Sheila Brown, she was just supposed to be like someone to mentor me and help me get the internet, get an antenna for internet radio to broadcast over FM radio. All right. So I told her, and at the same time, I was working the reason why I brought up the radio rep thing, because I was actually getting my cousin's airplay, getting them spins. So when I met her, so she can mentor me to do the FM station, my partner at the time was one of my cousins from Force MDs. So I said, hey, listen, they got a record that I'm working right now. I got an idea. How about, now another way to do radio promotions, you can get artists to actually perform in different markets, where you get all the money from the ticket. So instead of the ticket is $50 to get in, the artists don't get paid. The artist will perform. You keep the total amount of the ticket. That's another form of what, for lack of a better word, payola. The artist will perform for free. Uh, the radio station will keep the money from the tickets sold, and in conjunction to promote the show, they will play the record, and the record will chart on Billboard. All right, so I proposed that to her. She didn't even know how I knew about that. I said, well, I really do this for real. And I said, the only way I would do this, and this is where we at right now, that's going to bring you current. Okay, so the only way I'm going to do this, I need to do the interview for my cousins. I want to interview them. And she said, you know how to do radio? I said, I did it in college. I didn't even tell her about the FM, none of that. So she was thinking, damn, you an old ass nigga. College, okay, you probably don't know what's going on right now. So, but she wanted to do that deal where she can get that $50 ticket for the Force MDs performance, right? So she said, yeah. So, and we wasn't that far from Buffalo. This is Buffalo, New York. This is a prominent FM station. The ranking of the station is 59. It's 59 ranked in the U.S. So the station that I'm bringing my cousins to. So it's a metro ranking of 59 out of all the FM stations in the United States. It's ranked 59. Okay, so I bring my cousins there. And for whatever reason, it was the midday, right? I bring them there, and they didn't have the regular person, the regular board op that normally does middays. That person resigned like the week before we got there, so they had somebody who didn't really know the boards there, right? So I was alone with the person. I was like, you know what? I could, I could work this board, right? They was like, for real? So, like I said earlier, I'm not a dude that hold back information. So yeah, I could work this board. I could work all this shit in here. They said, yo, they just said you just was. I'm supposed to do the engineering, and you was gonna just talk, like interview your cousins. I said, matter of fact, let me do the whole thing. Let me do the board. He said, I don't know about that, man, because he's scared to death. I said, you're not gonna. I know. I really know how to work this shit, right? So they put me back there. So my boss to this day, Sheila Brown, who just signs my checks to right now. Her name was Sheila L. Brown, and then there was a guy named James Cornelius who was the PD. And this is how God works, Gmo. He actually worked at Foxy 105. The PD that was in Buffalo worked at Foxy 105. I didn't meet him; he was in the back, right? So when I scoped the room, I saw all the positioning statements, all the promos they had, because they had it all taped to the wall. So I knew as soon as I cracked the mic what I was going to say. So I was like, Power 96.5 the whole time, Jordan in the morning, and Michael Basin in the evening. They was like, oh, shit, who the fuck is that? So the dude starts running down the hallway. He's looking through the glass, and he's like, yo, who's that guy? Right? So I interviewed my cousins. I played the tender love and shit. Here I lay all alone, tossing and turning, looking for some of your tender love. So they like, oh shit, Force of these in the building. They was like, yo, I know the Force of D's is here, but who is the radio guy right now? He said, oh, that's their cousin. He bringing him to the city. He said, man, you done radio before, and how the fuck you know how to work this board? So I told him I was with Foxy 105 for 6 years. He said, I work for Foxy 105. So he go grabs the boss, and I do the next break. Right now, the phones is ringing off the hook because now like I was telling y'all earlier about crowd engagement and getting people to call. They never had people calling their station. Their phone was ringing off the hook. Forcing Jesus in the building, and I started creating stuff like question of the day, Ray's riddle of the day, like all that shit on the spot. I'm freestyling, right? So once we left, the dude was like, so the engineer who let me replace him, he was so shook, but he was so happy at the same time because he's getting autographs, he's selfies with the Force of D's. He thought I killed it, right? And when we left, he calls me up and said, "Yo, man, they want to hire you." So, right? so I played it off. I said, so I called the lady back and said, "You know what, Sheila? I already had the inside information." I said, "Yo, Sheila, if you ever, thinking about hiring me, I'd be open to that, you know." But I already had the mold, already had
Right.
the inside information already. See that we actually thinking about that. We was actually like so. I did my research on you, and oh, you would be above our pay scale. Right. So in my mind, Tebow, I was like, damn, I would take some McNuggets and $10 an hour right there because I wanted to get back. And like I was telling you, I wanted to get back on that after I had the bug to be back on the radio, and I knew it was 59th ranked, and I knew that this is New York. I wanted to be back, in New York. So the dude was telling me. So everybody, it's going to be a little disappointing to some of y'all. So like all these radio personalities out here, I think is making the bag. They're not making the bag at all. Some of them getting paid less than some people that work at Wendy's. You know what I'm saying? Some people getting paid $9 an hour in some markets. They just want to be on the radio so bad. And if you look it up and if you go to like Indeed or whatever and put or just Google what's the starting rate for a radio personality, and you put what they call the day part, like morning show, midday. Just put like what's the starting salary for a midday radio personality on FM. You're going to see numbers like $14 an hour, $12 an hour. So that's what the dude was telling me. Because like now, keep in mind when I left Foxy, I was already making $16 an hour, which was a lot for Columbus, Georgia, like $16 an hour. And keep in mind, it's not a lot of money because the normal radio personality only works 4 hours a day, y'all. So that's only $64 a day. So you got to really make the way a radio personality makes money is by coming popular in the market enough where you get hired by the car dealerships and you get hired by the beauty supply stores and the nightclubs to do live remotes or to be the DJ at the club because they think you're going to be a draw. Now I'm gonna tell you where you're making money at. So anybody's listening because it's going to be on the radio, right? So anybody's listening, this is how you make money, and this is why I never had to have a job since '93, right? So the way you make money with radio is you got to be so damn good for those 4 hours that the people, the car dealerships that's listening to you, the churches, the nightclubs, whatever, even if you're going to be in the park that day, they want you to be there. They want Ray in the midday there. Because when that happens with the radio station, they bill the company for the live remote, but the company is responsible for your hourly wage. So they will ask you how much you want to get an hour, right? But my lucky day with this, I'm gonna be honest with everything. I'm very transparent. So when the dude told me, "Yo, they don't really pay," I'm not gonna say his name because he he's probably get back to him. He said they don't really pay. They're only paying $12 an hour. In my mind, I was like, keep in mind, I was already making more than that. I was making 16 in Columbus, right? So I was like, damn, 12 in New York, that's really low, right? So, but at the end of the day, I wanted to be on radio so bad, I was going to take the 12 and gamble that I would get the live remotes and I would be the dude that be hosting the clubs, right? So I said, damn, I would take that. So I did get the job offer, right? So I'm going down there. She has a job offer letter. She's telling me how great it would be for me to be a live personality because the morning show was syndicated with Tom Joyner. He was not physically there. And the show after me was going to be Michael Baisden. So on top of me getting $12 an hour, right? I was thinking, damn, I'm gonna come right after Tom Joyner every day. I grew up listening to this move. And then right after me is Michael Bays. And at that time Michael Bays was on fire. So I was like, damn, so it's gonna be Tom Joyner, Ray Daniels, Michael Bays, and I'm gonna be the only person live in the city. So I was already prepared to hit the $12, right? So when I get in the office, she tells me how great the environment is, how I can bloom here. It's a great place to live. That she slides me. She slides me. Well, we might not be able to pay you what you, but this is what we're willing to give you. She slides the letter to me. She doesn't tell me, so I gotta have that awkward moment, Timo, to turn this shit over. That in my mind, I'm like, oh, get ready to see this $12, nigga. So I turn it over, and it was a whopping $35 an hour, which was scale, like the top, the most you can make for being a radio personality. This is Funk Master. Be honest with you, this is what Funk Master Flex them make. But how do they make millions? Because they get a portion of the commercials that ran during their time. Like you get a share. Like so, and then I got offered 20% shares for all the commercials coming through my time. So this is like the best deal I ever got in my whole damn life. So $35 an hour, 20% of the commercial shares, and I'm getting $300 an hour to do a live remote, not a live broadcast. $300 to do a live remote, and then I get 35% of the live broadcast on top of my live remote, $300 an hour. So I didn't really give a fuck about my paycheck at this point, team. I just want to get in many clubs as possible at $300 an hour. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I could do 2 hours here, then 2 hours there. If it's a long day, if it's a day party, I could do 2 hours at the day party. Then I go somewhere at night. I'll make $1,200 a day. So I'm good with this. fuck,
Right.
fuck the $35 an hour. I could have did this with the $12 an hour. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still with her to this day. So like she went, and the reason why I'm on the radio in Atlanta because she purchased. This lady's an incredible African American woman. She owns the station in New York, and she purchased the station in Atlanta. And she has all aspirations of doing the same thing she did in Buffalo because Buffalo was an AM station that she converted to FM. That's why I went there in the first place to help me get my internet to become FM. But so that's why she did that in New York and she killed it. And she bought an AM station. She bought an AM station in Atlanta, and she has plans on converting that to FM too. That's why I have no plans on going nowhere because I want to be there the day this station goes to FM. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And that's where we at right now. That and that's the short version.
Right. Because we just took
Y'all
up,
probably like,
you just
yeah,
absorbed the whole entire
that was half
time
my life right there.
allocated for you,
Yeah,
which is not a problem.
I just took you from 15 to 47 that fast. All
Yeah,
right,
not a
so
problem. We've
don't
come
tell
to that
nobody I'm 40.
time.
That's on the radio, right? So don't tell nobody I'm 47. But yeah,
It's
Well,
all
you don't
good.
look it. You don't look it. And I just want to
thank you
say,
so much.
I
Thank
want
you
to
so
say
much.
this. I have to say this. I heard everything you said, but I
Right.
just have to say this. I'm gonna need you to make an apology to my favorite girl group of all times.
Escape
It's
because they lost.
they didn't lose. They never
I'm saying
lost. They
they lost
still
that
here.
battle in
They
'94.
still here. I
Yeah,
don't
I tell you what,
yeah,
care. I
we've
am
come
an
to that
actually,
A2
time period.
alien.
Hey, listen, we've come to that time period, so we're gonna go
And,
ahead and
and
allow you to
that's
say what you
why
need to
we
say, Ray,
said
before we go, because we about to close out. We don't even have
yes.
time to
no,
ask
but
no questions.
I want her to say what she got to say because I was just
No,
hanging out
no,
with
no.
Escape
Listen,
backstage.
listen. We're
No, I
not
was
gonna
just saying
go.
about New Yorkers back in
Listen,
the day.
we're not going to go over our time period for something that is not even a part of the curriculum. We're not gonna violate. So say your piece. Let the people know where to check
I
in
want to
with you. and
Yeah,
we'll come back and do another interview with Super Ray Ray.
right. I want to thank you guys for hearing me out today and even putting me on the platform like this to because every now and then you have to vent and say things that's on your conscience and on your soul, just to even better yourself to go to another level. That's like it's like replenishing. Like let me get rid of that to put some more shit on my plate to eat. So I say that to say this. Get ready for the Radio Connect Award. I say that's to say this. I do Ray in the Midday currently right now on WIGO. I'm number one in that time slot. I'm doing very great. My ratings is going crazy. And I want to say, big ups to Phenomenon Radio for being a part of the Radio Connect experience. They're on the Radio Connect app now. And I want to also say, get ready for November 7th, 8th, and 9th for our inaugural, our first Radio Connect Awards, the RCAs. It's the only award that awards notable artists like SZA, Meg Thee Stallion, all the greats, and then we also recognize the independent artists as well on the same award show, as well as radio personalities, program directors, music directors, mix show DJs, APDs. So we're the only award show that covers music, the music industry on a plethora platform where anybody's probably going to be in the building from PROs to DSPs. Everybody's going to be there. So I want everybody to come out to Vegas. All nominees, everything is free for nominees. All right. So if you're a nominee, and I think team will have like about 7 or 8 of them that's nominated. They all free to come in to the welcome party in Vegas on the 7th. We have the conference seminar on the 8th and the actual awards show and the brunch on the 9th. So again, I want to give God the glory, and I want to thank you guys for even thinking of me enough to be on this platform.
Before you go, real quick, because Jazzy is in Atlanta, and you put
Right.
out the flyer marketing to the area. You got opportunities for people. If you still have those opportunities lined up, let her know right now because I'm sure she'll be willing to come down there and apply
Well,
herself to the different things that's going on.
well, Jazzy, I'm looking for volunteers today. I'll be at my radio station up to 12 midnight today. And I'm also going to be at the radio station from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. tomorrow. I'm looking for volunteers, for people to help me with the Radio Connect Awards. Uh, and hey, never know, you might get nominated for Internet Radio Personality of the Year. Let's go.
Indeed. We
Cause
appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate every single one of you, man. The DJs, my man from Canada, uh, man, and I want to get to know everybody better. Because I know a lot of people, uh, they be recipients of this type of glory, but they never follow up. They were like, "Oh, that was another booked and busy. That's another one in another notch in my belt." But I truly want to stay connected with anybody that wants to connect with me and with anybody that wants to grow. If I have the key to the door that can unlock to your success to go further, just call me. It's not. I'm very approachable. A lot of people see your accomplishments and don't. They'll be like, "I ain't fucking with that nigga." You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not gonna walk with my head low. So, but at the same time, I'm very approachable. Just call me. I put my real phone number on the internet. Like if you really about that, all you gotta do is call the number, man. I'm gonna pick it up.
You have
Uh,
my phone number as well.
right, but that's not what I
I know.
said.
I know.
Pick it up, call me, and let's make it work. Like at the end of the day, because the one thing I'm definitely guilty of is not staying connected because when I wake up, it's the next thing to do, and I don't look backwards or sideways. So I need is not because it's just a fault of mine. I need people who want to rock with me and be patient with me. If I don't pick up the phone, and Timo knows this because like he let me know every now and then. I done called you 3 times now. Come on, they know like so. At the end of the day, I need that, and I need to be reminded sometimes because like I get hit with so much shit. Like even this meeting today, I said I know I got something to do today, and he texts me, and enough time for me to get ready. You know what I'm saying? So I need people like Timo that will still, they won't get in their feelings. They will still call and text and let you know, hey, we got work to do today, because because I'm by myself. I don't really have, I have a team, but my team waits for me. And I'm really looking for teams that, people who show initiative and go about doing themselves, and then tell me what you done today that made it better. And I'm like going to say, oh, that's great. Instead of me saying, hey, this is what we need to do today, and then I have to wait for you to get it done. I'd rather you just get it done and tell me you did it. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's everything is trial and error, because I'm like I said earlier in this conversation, I'm so used to being a hustler. I never waited on anybody to make any decisions, and I'm a person that's a go getter, and I'm an outgoing person. So I'm not shy. I would walk up to anybody and start a conversation. So I never had to wait, and I take L's, and I take L's as lessons. I don't take L's as like, oh, say. So every time I take an L, I just ask myself, what could I have done differently to make that a W? You know what I'm saying? So I'm not afraid of people telling me no. If I ask you for something, like a lot of people, when you got to do a lot of cold calling or stuff that asks for people to be a part of your shit, a lot of people be like, they should see what I'm doing. They should be called, like we just went through this just now, a few minutes ago. You should see what I'm doing. And no, but sometimes you gotta just be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. And if they say I ain't fuck with you, I'm not interested, then hey, just use a part of that conversation to make the next conversation to get you a better result. You know what I'm saying? So like that's what I'm about. Just keep going.
No doubt. You made it to your destination yet?
I parked and I stayed still. I stood still. I took Jazzy's advice. Pull over.
Thank you, brother. We
pull,
appreciate that.
pull over.
That's respect.
Pull over. This talk is too fast.
Man, gone now. That's respect. Hey, well, look, we're going to get on up out of here because we know they're going to be on our ass about this time. However, we
Right.
appreciate
I
you.
love this setup. This setup is dope, man. This is
Hey,
a real dope
Phenom,
setup.
baby. Phenom.
Right.
Appreciate you.
And thank you for telling me to turn your phone around. You got to do it like this, Jazzy. You got to do your phone like this. It's probably locked.
Absolutely.
You got an Apple phone or an Android.
We
She
get
gonna make sure
help,
I got
baby.
the. She's gonna make sure I got that phone turned around. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's up.
All right,
But
family.
do me one favor, Jazzy. Take that damn Falcon banner down. This is New York Giants over here, baby, all day.
All right,
Take that
peace.
damn Falcon down. Peace, y'all. Peace.
Where you live at?
The most versatile hip hop radio station in the world. Phenomenal Radio.